Hello, Rebecca James here. So good to see you guys again. Today I'm going to be speaking about how to build a resilient mindset. So, have you ever met those people who are like cup half full all of the time? That's what I'm like. And a lot of people don't understand how I'm like this and how I see solutions for everything. So, that's why I'm going to be speaking about that today. So, according to the American Institute of Psychology, the 4 pillars to build a resilience mindset are connections, so building and fostering connections, wellness, so focusing on your well-being, finding purpose, this is a big one a lot of people don't know how to do, and then also embracing healthy thoughts. So when I was researching this and I saw this article, it gave those bullet points and went in a little bit into like what that means, but there was no concrete actual help with like, okay, how do I do this? Okay, foster relationships. But what about if I'm fostering relationships that are actually very negative, or maybe the relationship isn't negative, but the person has a very negative mindset? That's also very, very damaging for our own mindset, being surrounded by people who are complaining all the time, negative all the time. That's really negative for us. But how do we actually break away from these relationships when it comes to family, when it comes to close friends, romantic relationships, colleagues and work? You know, it's not always so easy as just cut people out. So I'll speak a little bit about that. So for me, I have always had this type of mindset where I will look for the positives in something. I feel a little bit out of breath already. Let's all take a breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth, okay? Okay, feeling a bit better now. So, the first thing I'm going to speak about today, as I've just mentioned, I have had quite a cup half full mindset most of my life, but in the times that I was really, really struggling, that wasn't so easy. So this is the things that have really, really helped me to keep that positive mindset and that resilience mindset. So the first thing, which I don't see many people speak about, is the victim mindset. So a lot of us have these reoccurring thoughts that put ourselves in the victim mode. So we blame everybody and everything outside of ourselves for our situation, for our life, for our feelings. So an example of this would be, well, this happened to me when I was younger, so this is why I cannot do X, Y, and Z. Or, well, I didn't come from money, so I can't go and traveling the world. Or, you know, I studied for 6 years, I studied this subject, so I don't have a choice what I do for work because I studied this for 6 years. So, you know, that's just what I have to do. And all of that, it doesn't even sound like you're victimizing yourself, but when you really break it down, whenever you blame other people, whenever you take the control of your life, whenever you put the control of your life in somebody else's hands, you're immediately in this victim mode because you are completely giving away your power and acting as if life is happening to you and not for you. So this victim mindset, how do you know if you have this mindset? Generally, most people do. Honestly, nearly everybody does. Like we say things, we blame people, even using words such as, I should do this, I have to do this, I need to do this. Like this type of language as well is all coming from like obligation. oh, I need to go for a walk? What about I get to go for a walk? My legs are working. I'm healthy enough to be able to actually go for a walk. I'm not confined in a small space. I have the freedom to go out and get some fresh air. See how we can see it in two completely different ways. We can see it like, oh, I have to go for a walk for my mental health. Oh, I need to go for a walk. It's so annoying. Versus I get to go for a walk. Maybe I'm not really in the mood, but I get to go. I'm choosing to go. I get to have that choice and my body is healthy enough. If I was lying in a hospital bed, I would absolutely love to have the strength to go for a walk. So that type of language should, need to, have to, I can't. Who says you can't? You're saying you can't. So it's all of this is really putting yourself in that victim mindset and the victim mode. So how do you shake yourself out of this? It takes time. I've also been in the victim mode a good few times in my life, and there's definitely a longer period as well that I was in the victim mode. Sometimes also others put us in the victim part. Say, for example, we have a loss in our family, and we get redundant, our business fails, anything like this happens. We can put ourselves in the victim mode, but also other people can say things like, oh, you poor thing, oh, that's awful, life is so cruel, all these things. So it's up to you to sit down and to ask yourself, what are the lessons from this? So when something happens, small or big, what is the lesson from this? It doesn't mean that we don't have to grieve. It doesn't mean that, we just ignore our feelings about what has happened. But the most important thing is to see what lessons there are from it. This really, really helps to shift away from the victim mindset, because then you start looking for the good. You shift away from the poor me and shift into the, okay, what have I learned from this? Or maybe I haven't learned yet, but what can I learn from this? What can I do differently in the future? So that's the first one, is shifting away from the victim mindset. Just to recap, notice when you or people around you use words very often, such as poor me, I can't, I need to, I have to, and blaming others. And then secondly, when something happens that you don't feel good about, whether it's small or big, look at what lessons. So sit down and actually write it out. What lessons can I get from this? You can even go back into your past as well. I've done this a few times. Go back and write down something that happened that was really big impact on you, particularly maybe something that was difficult and you may have seen as negative and the world tells you is negative, and sit down and reframe it. Write out, what have I learned from this and how is this going to help me in the future? Okay. Number 2, so the second way you can start to build a resilience mindset is noticing your automatic negative thoughts. So this kind of feeds into the last one as well, of noticing what type of language you're using around things. But how do we actually notice our negative thoughts? Our brains are wired to be negative. So most of our thoughts are automatically negative. That is just how our brains work. So it's up to us to rewire that, and it takes time. So first, notice what are the reoccurring negative thoughts. So automatic negative thoughts, I like to call them, it's ant. Dr. Amen came up with this theory, ant theory, which I really, really love. So basically, first, observe. So notice, okay, something happens or someone pisses me off. What's the first automatic negative thought that comes up? Write it down. So that is such a big key for these negative thoughts, because they're so unconscious, especially if you're somebody who is constantly overthinking, constantly analyzing something, it's really exhausting and it's going on in your head over and over and over. So getting it out on paper, you can actually see it there. I used to have chronic anxiety and be such an overthinker. So this really helped me to get it out on paper. So write down, for example, I'm in a group of people. I say something, just something comes into my mind, I say it. Maybe I think it's funny, nobody laughs. What's the first thought I have? That was so stupid, why did I say that? I leave the group. What's the first thing that I think? Oh, they're all going to be laughing at me and talking about me. I feel so embarrassed. So I write that down. Write it down. What is that automatic negative thought? Write it out. And then you question it. So question it. Does everyone really think I'm stupid? Really question it. Does everybody think I'm stupid just because I said that? So what if nobody laughed? So what if somebody thinks I said one silly thing? Just really question it, write it out and question what the thought is, and then squish it. So squishing it with this thought, for example, is I said something and I feel a little bit embarrassed, but most people only really care about themselves. Everybody is the main character in their own life. So what I just said is okay. And I forgive myself for that. So first you observe the negative thought, then you question it, and then you squish it. Okay? Observe. Why can't I say that word today? Observe. Observe, question, squish. Keep doing this daily if you have to. Write it out, write it down, and then you'll be able to do it just in your head. So now, actually, my overthinking and automatic negative thoughts are like barely any, honestly, because I've done all of this work. So it really doesn't happen anymore. But after I spent a few months writing down my automatic negative thoughts, then I didn't even have to write it down. I was able to just do it in my head. So if I noticed in a moment that something came up, I was able to go through that framework of the noticing it, questioning it, and squishing it in my head, so I could do it really quickly, and then it just went. I didn't have to think about something for hours or days or weeks. Honestly, saves so much energy, so much energy. And that's what we want, because life is short. We want to make the most of our energy and just be the happiest we can be. So this is also why I'm making this video, because life is way too short to be stressing about things, overthinking about things, analysing things, worrying more about what other people think versus what we think and how we feel. So they're the first 2 steps to building a resilience mindset. The third step is shifting the focus from other people. Like I just said there, most people, we care more about what other people think of us and what other people are doing, versus actually caring about ourselves and what's best for us and impacting others. So when I say that, I'm saying instead of focusing on what everybody thinks about us and stressing and not taking steps in life and in business or our careers, whatever we're doing, out of that fear and out of that judgment, remembering what our purpose is and why we're doing what we're doing, bringing it back to the purpose and the impact we want to make, instead of all in our ego about ourselves and trying to protect ourselves and trying to, impress people and people please and all of this. Bringing it back to the mission and the purpose and actually removing yourself and seeing it as, I am here on this planet in this time. I am here on this planet in this time to impact people in this way. It can be anything at all. It can also change. It doesn't have to be, my purpose is this, and it's going to be this for the next 40 years. It can be, right now, my purpose is making sure at least one person smiles every day, or making sure that I am kind to my family, or making a positive impact on my students. Whatever it is, but just keep coming back to that. And that's really helpful to actually take steps forward with courage, with resilience, when not everything is about you. Because not everything is about you, especially if you're trying to make a positive impact in the world. Actually, it has really very little to do with you. I really believe that, for example, me, I believe that I am here to make a really positive impact on the world, and it actually doesn't have anything to do with me. Like, as Rebecca James, 25 years old from Ireland, like, that's just how life is at the moment. But I don't believe that that's like who I am and that it's about me. So that really helps me to make this video I'm making now, and to host events and to do different things that I'm doing, because I'm remembering the mission, the purpose. So yeah, that's the third one. And then the final step to creating a resilience mindset is nourishing yourself, your mind, your body. So when we are not sleeping very well, not eating very healthily, not spending any time in nature, not observing our selves or our thoughts and just being present, it's very easy to be in our heads the whole time instead of feeling into our bodies and just being in the present moment. This has really helped me, is to really come back to my priorities with, okay, how do I look after myself? How do I look after my health? Because the better that I am, health-wise, energy-wise, spiritually, just in every way, the better I am, the more impact I can make, the more impact I can have on others. So it all comes back to, okay, what impact can I have on others? How can I look after myself the best way possible, and my mind as well, so I can impact others? So nourishing yourself, that's a really big one. And I'm not a nutritionist or a therapist, so I'm not going to give like specific things there. You kind of know yourself. You know, think of a time when you felt so energized, jumping out of bed in the morning, you feel so good within yourself, within your body, you feel full of joy. How are you looking after yourself? What does your daily routine look like? So reflect on that, and that will help you to see specifically how you nourish yourself. Because I can tell you how I nourish myself. If you want to know, leave a comment and I will let you know. I can tell you that, but also everybody's different. So yeah, that's it. So just to do a little recap, first I'm going to take a deep breath in and out if you want to join me. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll do another one. My nervous system just relaxed. So, to do a little recap on that, how I personally built my resilience mindset, and now honestly, barely anything phases me. Like, I'm so chill. I see life, just really just love it so much, and I see life through such a light-hearted lens and really cup half full. I see the lessons in everything that happens to me. So to me, I just said I see the lessons in everything that happens to me. I'm going to reframe that. I see all the lessons to everything that happens for me. Really, I believe that so much in this world happens for us, not to us. So the recap is, first step, shift out of the victim mindset. Second step, automatic negative thoughts. So really getting clear on what they are and start to really notice them and reframe them. Third, shifting your focus to your impact and your purpose, whatever that is right now. It can change. It doesn't need to be a big, huge purpose that you have to commit to your whole life. Just something that feels good right now. And then finally, nourish yourself, your mind, your spirit. Just nourish yourself. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did. Let me know if you have any questions. You can message me over on Instagram at RebeccaJames__. And that's it. Sending lots of love.